It's only a few of you, but still. There's Jane. She can't get on. Hi, Jane. What? In just a minute. Why is this now? I can't even get.
Match panelist email address specified by the event host.
I sent the whole thing over to you.
I know, but apparently if I'm not on some list to be a panelist.
Yeah, you have to be a formal member of the committee.
Okay.
But I gave you, which
I know.
Yeah.
I filled it out. And I'm submitting and it keeps saying you're in red. Your email
Okay, can we just put you on with the phone?
Speakerphone? Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna put Jane on with speakerphone because we have Tish is on the board and Tommy's here and I'm here and our wonderful Brenda Berkman, who was first informed about this about an hour ago, really, is on the phone, and I don't really want to hold her up. So I think we should start there. Tom? Just so let's introduce Brenda. We'll just start with you, Brenda, and then you can go on to your day while we struggle through the technology.
Great. Well, I'll try and be very respectful of your time. But first of all, I just want to say how enthused I am to be here to speak on behalf of Monumental Women, Monumental Women is an all-volunteer nonprofit that began about 7 years ago to try and bring more women and people of color into public spaces. And the first segment.
I want to stop you. I don't want to.
Yeah.
We are recording, I hope.
Said it was.
Is it? Marie? Can we tell if it's on, Brenda?
I saw an announcement that it was being recorded, but hopefully that's still the case.
Just so people know, is that her organization sent a letter to the community board, which I responded to as head of the Women's Issues Committee, and then invited her to this meeting. So that's as far as we've gotten. So she's telling us about what Monumental Women is. And we're going to look at this whole project that they're in because they are reaching out to community boards in particular.
Yeah, so we have a three-part mission. The first part of which has now been completed, which is to put the first statue honoring real women in Central Park, which we unveiled on August 26th. Maybe you saw some of the press coverage for Sojourner Truth, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, and Susan B. Anthony, the Women's Rights Pioneers Monument. And that
very exciting, by the way.
We raised $1.5 million in private funding. The only public support was we got some capital funding from Manhattan Borough President Gail Brewer and from Council Member Helen Rosenthal, whose district the Central Park is in. So that's been unveiled. We're ongoing with that. And
where is it?
It's on Literary Walk. If you know where the mall is, that big wide walkway that goes up from the southern end of the park up to Bethesda Fountain, and at the south section of that are Robert Burns and that famous poet. I'm being sarcastic. Fitzhugh Green, and I'm trying to think who else. Anyways, all guys. There were no statues to real women in Central Park for its 167-year history until we went through all the bureaucratic rigmarole to get that. And I just want to make clear, because there may be some confusion, we are not part of the city. We are not part of the Charlene McRae, whatever, that was started up maybe only about a year ago. And so we completed that first part, but the other two parts of our mission are to help groups that similarly want to honor women women and people of color in their public spaces, whether it be in New York City or in other parts of the United States and even the world. And to that end, we got a small amount of funding to help us to put together a toolkit, which is in the process of being done right now, to help guide other groups based on our experience. But the thing that really involves you all is because the third part, which is as part of our educational campaign, we are going to work with partners around the 5 boroughs to put together a women's rights history trail. So the five boroughs, all right? And it's to honor the unknown and the known women. Now, they all have to be women who contributed to women's rights history. So not necessarily every woman is going to fall into that category, and they also have to not be living. I mean, we had to draw some parameters here, otherwise we'd get Beyonce and not to say that, people shouldn't respect Beyonce, that's all great, but in terms of establishing Beyonce's legacy, that can't be done because Beyonce is still walking around doing stuff. So we were very excited to find out just now that, you all have gotten going with your own women's rights walking tour. And you have some ideas already of women that you might want to honor for the 5 borough walking trail. And so, we're very happy to have found you and to understand that you're interested in thinking about working with us. But I have to say to you that we are at the beginning of this because, a lot of our energy necessarily had to be taken up with the Central Park Monument. It was quite a long and convoluted process. So we got it done. It's fantastic. One of the things that we did with that, which I don't know what your trail involves, but one of the things that we did with that is we actually made it a talking statue, which means that when you go to the monument, or even when you download the app for either your Android or your Apple device, mobile device, not your computer, it has to be a mobile device, you can listen to Meryl Streep, Viola Davis, Jane Alexander on the English version, and Rita Moreno, Susan, America Ferrera, and Zoe Saldana on the Spanish version, voice those 3 women.
Wow.
And in addition, we have little tiny documentaries, PBS documentaries, about each of the 3 women that are only about 1 minute long. And we have an interview with the sculptor Meredith Bergman. So all that content, it's not just a piece of bronze on marble sitting there. People can go there and learn a great deal more about women's history from that monument than has previously been possible, because of the technology. So we're not looking at just putting monuments and statues all around the city. We're also looking at, is this a physical location, a building perhaps, or a site where some important women's rights history event took place, and working on, let's say, a plaque or a street sign. In other words, expanding out the knowledge of the public about women's history and the contributions of women and people of color to our great city.
And we have a strong focus, Brenda, on the fact of really looking at our Williamsburg Greenpoint community and what women have done over time. So we are
fantastic.
Very focused, and particularly neighborhood women, which I and Jane and Tish have all been a part of has really looked at, and Tish is one of the big stars in the walking tour, if you came out, by the way. She and her husband are big plaques on we've now well, we have, I don't know, about 15 different places where plaques are on
Really?
buildings and a beautiful brochure. And then we kind of stopped there because we know, I'm just only saying this to you, Brenda, is that when you talk about all the things you did regarding the Central Park, I mean, I know the amount of time it took to do this much smaller thing. And it is, very complicated. And Jane, you have been worked. What is it? Your mother, your aunt, or who that did that whole with the bricks in Ohio?
My mother and her friends created a park, a women's park in Warren, Ohio, several years ago,
Uh-huh.
and it's wonderful. And we're looking to do something similar here.
Weren't they? Wasn't that a suffrage thing too?
Yes, and they do a suffragette parade, and they do a lot of events that are kind of historical. There was a suffragette named Harriet Upton, who
But we have to, Jane, we have to say suffragist in the States.
Oh,
Yeah.
the purists.
Yeah, that's all right. Okay, go ahead. I'm
No,
sorry.
but I
I'm
mean,
sorry.
this link that Jane is bringing up right now,
Yeah.
which we don't need to spend a long time on, Jane, but I think that they're looking nationally and internationally, aren't you? So you would want that connection, Brenda,
I would love to meet with you.
to Warren, Ohio.
Well, we are, we are working. First of all, there's a network of women's rights history trails, consortium. And so Ohio may very well be part of that. We have been working with them. We've been looking at other trails and sites around, the Alice Paul Institute in New Jersey, the Boston Women's Heritage Trail in Boston, and, various places where they have already done stuff. But here in New York, our board president, Pam Elam, years ago did a women's history trail for Manhattan. And needless to say, we would want to revisit that, and then include in all the rest of the 5 boroughs. Greenwich Village just did a really good suffrage history trail, women's suffrage history trail, in time for the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment. So there are all these different groups around New York that we want to partner with and bring together to combine our resources. So, you all have already started doing things, and we want to be able to help you amplify that and also incorporate it into our larger, 5 borough picture.
We love it, I think. I mean, I'm speaking out of turn. I don't know, Tish and Bozina, you're on the line?
Yeah, I want to say something.
Yeah, go on.
Yes,
Go on,
yes, I
Tish.
am.
So speak up about what do you think about this? And Tommy, what do you think about what you're hearing from Brenda? Tish, go on.
I think, Brenda, you're wonderful. And what I want to say is that we've been working at this for over 35 years.
Sure. A lot of places. Yeah.
Jan was a college program, which educated a lot of women in the community. And we went on to do a lot of work in the community to improve quality of life. I mean, we had a big problem with the city. Coming into a closed hospital, Franklin Hospital. And Jan named 4 buildings after women. So she's ahead of the time. And there's one of them with Guido, my husband and I, there's a building.
And you don't have to be dead, Brenda.
Yeah.
That was a big win for the community. We got 4 buildings where we were able to utilize the buildings and reduce the quality of life for the homeless and on and on. So we've been doing this, but it's wonderful. We're going to continue and in the new role here and see what we can do to help out and be a part of that. because many women from our community have been honored for their work. And we thanks to Jan Peterson, who started this whole college program.
Pay her
And
every week.
forward and then everything was a big battle in the neighborhood when the city proceeded to place homeless men at a small amount, you know, and then it escalated to over 1,000 in the various buildings that they were occupying, which we had planned for years to have housing, permanent housing, affordable housing for seniors. And it became a reality at some point when we were able to fight the city on that issue of dumping people, whatever, homeless. We had a lot of sympathy for the homeless men, but they were taking over all of the buildings, and Jan helped out in St. Nick's. We won't forget St. Nick's and all the community groups.
Okay.
Many people. So we've been doing this, but we want to go ahead now and continue citywide, go beyond just our Brooklyn community.
Yeah, what Tish is talking about, this all will fit together later on, Brenda. But let's hear from Bozina, and then I'll tie it up so you get the picture. And Tommy's over at the Eastern, I keep calling it Eastern District High School, but you're really not that anymore. But he's in the big high school in the community, works a lot with youth all over. So these are all very well positioned people, Brenda. So Bozina, what's your thoughts? And Lisa Bamonte is on here too.
Mike, do you have to unmute them, Jan?
I don't think so. What do I,
Yes.
they're all
Oh,
on.
there, Bozina unmuted herself. There she
Yes,
goes.
yes, okay. Hi. I know I didn't join you at the beginning of the meeting, but the one thing I wanted to stress out that we're very happy to have Jen, as a fighter for women's issue and the women's agenda. She can be a perfect example of how how strong you have to be, even though you're not feeling great yourself, with with her broken leg and everything, walking in the crutches and making the point and trying to convince everybody about that. At one note, I just wanted to maybe point out something like I am from the Eastern European country, and there is an issue in Europe, with the men have. I'm sorry, Tony, that the strong women are not viewed as a threat. They don't being viewed as a partner, in certain European settings. So we are, I think, in America, we are true leadership for all the women around the world. With our actions, with our representation and everything else. So I'm very happy to be part of that committee, and I salute you with all the work that you guys doing, and I would like to play a role in anything that we're gonna do for women, in our community.
Thank you. Lisa, any thoughts? And Tommy?
Hi, Jan. I'm sorry I came in so late on the meeting.
Okay, I'm not,
So I'm just listening to everybody's replay.
okay, that's fine. Tommy?
Sure. Can you hear me, Jan? Can you
Very
hear me?
well, very well.
Hi, Brenda. Welcome to
Hi,
our
Tommy.
committee here in Williamsburg. A pleasure meeting you. I think you're so fortunate to have been able to be connected to someone like Jan, who has been in the middle for many years in our community, just working with women, women from my development where I grew up, NYCHA, affordable housing here that we have here in our community, public housing, and she's been working with so many of our leaders who have helped raise individuals like myself and help produce leaders like many of us here in the community. And she's honored several of them, tenant association president. She's honored a woman that worked in our building, my high school where I work at, who helped and when the city was not investing in public education, in our community, in our local high school, there was a big fight to get what we have now, which is a respectable high school that we have in our community because of the work of women in our community. And Jan has been showcasing that and working with women like that. So I'm proud to be part of this community board and proud to be part of this committee led by Jan and led by a lot of the women that are on now with us. So
Thank you.
welcome, Brenda.
So I would say,
Thanks,
Jane,
Tommy.
and Jane, is that so we can wrap up this section of our meeting. But one is the budget, Brenda, is one of the topics that's going to be on our agenda. And it might be, I don't know, we're not ready to say what we would like to do, but I know that the work that you're talking about and your vision that you're doing fits very well with what many of us have been trying to do. As Tommy's saying, they're saying me, but there's a whole lots of women like Tish and Bozina and others that are around, and we bridge all the ethnic and racial groups. So one is, what's wonderful about Williamsburg Greenpoint is that we have powerful leaders, and all our politicians support what we're trying to do. So we're not at odds at this point. I don't know what next week or the week after. I mean, we've had a few changes electorally right now. We'll see. But we also have Carol Maloney as our congressperson. So we're saying we have Nydia Velasquez and Carol Maloney. It's important to remember both of them as they are distinguished. And Carol's trying to do the Women's Museum in Washington. So this is later conversations, but we could have a later conversation and have Carolyn, who almost lost her election bid. I don't think she did. I don't know what's happened. Do you know?
No, she won the primary, and so she's won re-election.
But she was close, hanging on by a fingernail.
That was the primary.
Jim, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you, Marie. So Marie Leonza is now on. Can you see us or?
No, you can't. I'm on the phone. I can't get you on the computer because my office computer doesn't have that web, whatever the heck.
I know, we gotta have Zoom. This is really, and Bella's trying to get on too from the Orthodox Jewish community. She can't get on right now to hear Brenda. So
okay.
Okay, so we'll end. I think we can. So people are interested. Let's just hear this. Are you all interested in going ahead and exploring this relationship with Brenda and the Monumental Women's Committee? Does that fit? What she's talking about fit kind of a vision that you think we might have in the Williamsburg Greenpoint community? And if you,
I think it does. I mean,
this is Jane Poole. Yeah.
You didn't have to be just to be honored. That might be an issue with us, but I love to work with you. I feel like we completely have a shared mission, and it would be fantastic to have another meeting, set up a
So I would we'll continue to pursue this. We're just in the very early stages of development of our partnerships. And I just put in the chat our website. So I would encourage you to go to monumentalwomen.org and take a look at our website. And also, if you are wandering around in Central Park, you can walk over to the Women's Rights Pioneers Monument, or you can look at us online. So, you'll get a better idea then of what we're looking at here in terms of going forward.
I think that would be good. And you can look at our website, Neighborhood Women.
It's called Neighborhood Women?
Yeah, Neighborhood Women has a website of all of its work for the last 35 years, 45 years, but it has that whole walking tour in it. So So you'll see visually what it's like, and they're all connected to, and that would be what Jane said, is that if, as you're going along, it would matter to us that we might have some decisions that we make that are slightly different from a citywide or national approach.
Well, of course, any thing that we come up with is not going to be able to include every single piece at the micro level,
Yeah.
But we want to make sure that neighborhoods have their input, and particularly that they, where they've done research and they can offer some unique and exciting, interesting aspect to their neighborhood, historical women in their neighborhood. We would want to try and include that. So is it neighborhoodwomen.org? Is that where?
You just put in neighborhood women, you'll get it. I don't think it has to be .org or .anything, but yes, .org. It's an organization.
But it's
And
called
all of it-
Neighborhood Women, right?
Neighborhood Women.
Okay, gotcha.
And we own a building at 249 Manhattan Avenue.
Oh, okay, great.
And it's over 150 years because I'm just saying legacy is a big thing. We're looking at that building. It's probably one of the few women-owned buildings in the city.
Yeah.
And we're thinking about that. Jane has been bringing in this idea of the bricks going into parks and other places named after women. And which is and I think that you could help bridge us to meet with the group in Manhattan that you said is in the West Village. I think that would just be helpful from there. We're very good at coalition building. We like coalitions, and we support leadership, as you can see. And we're all feisty bunch of people, but
Yeah. No,
but
well,
everybody here is a doer that actually makes things happen. And Lisa is a part of, you still are with the settlement house. We have the oldest settlement house, school settlement house, that might be torn down, that people are quite concerned about. That's in Brooklyn. Bozina runs is probably one of the major leaders in the Polish Slavic community in Greenpoint. So you have and Tommy's been district leader. So you have a very strong spread of people that all have their own influences, and that if we decide we want to do something, I think we should be able to do it. And Tish has got a million things with Greg, because we have to do the whole history of this Greenpoint Renaissance corporation that she's been keeping all the papers on for the last 45 years, all the press release. And women were the main, and that's going to be the problem, is women were the main people that fought for this as a redevelopment of the hospital that was closed down, the Greenpoint Hospital. It's the largest public space that is now, we fought 35 years to get, and we're going to build 600 or 700 units of housing, but we can decide the legacy part. And there's many women that I would say 90% of the people, Marie Lianza, who's on the phone, 90% of the people that fought for this whole effort were women. And that's why they already have the walking tour, but we can do more. So I'm saying is that, and Jane is working on parks, and she's on one of the key area, because she asked before, Brenda asked if we are working with the parks. I said, other than our problem with the women's swim, we do work with the Parks Department. We're not always happy with Mitch, or I am personally not happy with Mitch Silver, who was really obnoxious regarding the whole women's swim, but he's been wonderful on women. So we can dance those dances too. We can do that stuff. We can't hate him for everything, but it is a little ridiculous that he did that whole thing on women and then wouldn't let women have 8 hours of space in a pool of 72 or 80 hours that's open a week. But that's another campaign to talk about.
Well, we look forward to, the future and partnering with you all on things that we can, where we intersect, where we overlap, and can really amplify, your voices in the larger 5-borough tour. So that'd be great.
We're happy to meet you. Any last question for Brenda? No.
Okay. We'll be in touch.
Wait, Jane is asking something. Go on. Yeah, go on.
Maybe setting up another meeting at some point would be great.
Well, I think she's saying setting up
Thank you for
another
this
meeting.
wonderful work.
I think that after the new year, we should touch base again, after in January. And we could talk to, and you should think about the Carol Maloney thing, because I think
Carolyn's a longtime supporter of ours.
that's what I mean. It should be
She was at the unveiling, so yeah.
it should be linked to the museum in Washington, because what we don't want, and you use the word women's rights, and obviously that's fine. I use the word women in development, community development. So we have, there's different nuances of what people mean when they talk about women's leadership and women's roles. That is the later discussion that we don't need to bring into. But Carolyn, I hope that the museum has a wide range and incorporates the different women's movements,
Yeah, it'd be nice, right?
And if it went from the neighborhood to Washington, wouldn't that be nice? Your work should be linked right in there.
So I'm gonna go now and let you get on with the rest of your meeting. And I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you all, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you, Brenda.
Okay, right. Take care. Right.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay. So now the rest of our meeting is, I don't know. I heard Bella is sending another note. She's writing me emails, and I don't know how to do anything about that. Jane, is that I think you should just say a little bit more about where things are with the idea of the bricks, and then we'll move on to the budget, because we want to be prepared for the citywide, the budget that's coming up at the community board. And we were supposed to, Stu was trying to bring somebody from the Violence Against Women, but we just didn't have enough time to put that all together. So Jane, do you want to talk a little bit?
I guess, it's interesting hearing what they're doing or what they're starting to do, and haven't really done yet, but what they're starting to do. I guess we certainly share a mission. We want to put these bricks in parks also, but also to have a park and have representation and have programming and all sorts of things. We're working on it. My friend Jane and I and some others are working on a presentation, and we are going to do a campaign soon, and we're getting ready to put up a website and launch into a fundraising campaign soon to do something in our neighborhood that all of you would, hopefully be involved in. But I think there's always room to work together. I mean, we need all of us to be doing these things because the inequity is just so massive. I would say maybe if anyone is interested in joining maybe a subcommittee, I could give a proper presentation to either to this board or to a committee soon. I didn't know that you were going to ask me to talk.
Yeah, no, that's all right. So,
and then I don't have any, I can't show any visuals.
Yeah, but Jane is going to apply on the board, on the website for Williamsburg Greenpoint Community Board 1. There's an application to apply to be on this committee. None of our people that aren't formal members of the community board have written to Dialis to apply, so they're not getting the information about how to get on the meeting. So if you do that, then we can put you on next time, Jane, and unless she doesn't accept you, and Bella and whoever else is out there, we can do. But Francoise, so we're going to move right to the fact that childcare, it does. Lisa, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit.
Yes.
Is that we had, because I said I wrote to Francoise, I'm concerned that the budget that's coming up, the citywide budget, that our part in Williamsburg Greenpoint, doesn't really have much, well, it doesn't have the specific things regarding women. So far, we brought up, and is that we're hearing that childcare centers might be closed down. And then we are hearing that there are people in certain income brackets that are really hard hit by the costs of childcare
That's
that,
correct.
that need help and need different financing available. I'm kind of, and then the other thing is Tish has brought up the fact that doesn't seem to be support centers for people that have Alzheimer's, dementia, and other issues like that. So families that have, like I had with Zan, or she has with her husband, there's not anything around to provide support, and you're almost trapped in. So I would like to if we can spend a few minutes on the budget. Are there any other budget issues besides childcare and the elder care that people feel, and because I don't know about the violence against women. People, Stu was going to bring it up, how much more violence has taken place since the COVID, but what that would mean in terms of a budget or action, I wouldn't be able to answer that, I don't think, unless we can meet with the police and find out. At our next meeting, we can bring both of them in. But let's just start. Does it make sense just to start with the childcare issue? And
I think
Bezina, if you
so.
have senior citizen, anybody has an issue that requires money, we should bring it out now. Because we're not going to keep on with this budget thing.
Well, Jan, even with the COVID situation and this remote and blended learning schedule that the DOE has given to us parents, the problem is if you're not working from home, there really aren't many services out there that you can bring your child to while these kids are in school, not home. Or, the other thing is I know the Settlement House and St. Nick's, the Settlement House is open during the day.
Small World is open, right?
But the thing is, the children are not eligible to go every day. So depending upon what their schedule is or their structure, like if the child is, from what I understand, fully remote, they're not able to go to the Settlement House every day. So if you have a parent that works, what does that child do? I'm assuming they're left home alone. I don't really know. I don't know anybody personally who is affected by this, but I know that this is a big problem that's out there listening to parents at school.
I'm sorry. I think that the parents had to choose before a certain time whether to be fully remote, be partially remote.
Right.
And I don't, it depends on what a person would choose.
So Marie, what happened was the DOE was giving parents, there was going to be like 4 different slots from throughout the whole entire school year. Now they just sent emails to us saying that if your child is remote and you would like to do blended, where your child goes to school, whether it be 1 day a week or 2 days a week, and every week, I want to tell you that schedule changes. Then this was the last time for you to be able to go into the blended program. So a lot of parents are a little bit outraged with the DOE because we were supposed to be given other opportunities. My children are going blended, so I'm choosing them to stay. But if I decide to say, okay, I want my child to go fully remote, that's it. My child has to stay remote till the end of the school year.
Okay, so on one hand, you'd like more flexible decision making, right? you'd like it to be more flexible.
Well,
that-
right. You know, for, like I said, you know, for the parents out there that have to work, and I'm sure with a lot of companies, you know, right now, you talk to different people, people are slowly going back to work, 2 days a week, some 3 days a week. Some of them are staying home indefinitely until January, but then after January, we really don't, a lot of people don't know what's going to happen with work. You know, they might say, okay, well, you're fully remote, you're coming back 2 days a week. So now it doesn't help a lot of the parents, because now they have to decide now, and when they don't even know what their schedule is going to be
Okay.
moving forward after January.
That's helpful. And what about the childcare issue, the cost?
You know, childcare is very expensive. I don't really know any programs. I mean, I'm sure there has to be something out there, but childcare is very expensive. And the other thing too is that look at a lot of these places, you know, with the new mandates, you're only allowed a certain amount of children in each facility at a certain amount of time because of all the COVID restrictions. So with childcare, I don't know how they expanded them. I mean, here at the restaurants, we're still 25%. So does that affect childcare facilities as well? I don't know.
Okay, so does anybody, Tommy, do you have any idea?
Well, I'm sure St. Nick's and any of our not-for-profits in the neighborhood are also restricted in terms of the amount of students they can service in a particular day, so that affects their schedule. Less kids that they can have in the building, just like the schools are having those issues.
So even if we're not experts, we know there's a problem in terms of enough childcare support with enough economic support for people so that they're not overly burdened. I mean, we have to have some, and we can work on that a bit, Lisa. If you're talking to people and you get it clear, I mean, Marie, when is the budget going to be passed by our board?
Well, we're doing the budget priorities at the November meeting. So that's, then we go into a new cycle will start. So I can't say what the city's doing because it's.
No, but if they're saying childcare and.
We have childcare as a high priority. We
Right.
did that already. So that's
So
not really going to change. But the nuances about, you know, everything's so much up in the air, what's going to happen. We have a
Right.
lot of centers that's closed down. You know, I see daycare centers that service people before their doors are shuttered.
That's what I'm concerned about, is that we need to find out, Tommy, with all your political contacts, Jane and the rest, as I said, I talked to somebody that said that they thought that Los Nuestros Niños, that one of them were going to be closed down. So we don't want daycare centers closed down when there's not enough and they're not flexible enough. We have to say that, is the point, Lisa and the rest. And so at least do we want to say something pretty strong that in our district, we don't want to see daycare centers closed.
No, we don't want daycare
No,
centers closed.
We don't, and we want to
No.
know about it. The point is that the
Right.
problem I fussed at Marie the other day. Our problem is that a lot of the issues, like daycare in the schools, Lisa, and the hospitals and the police, do not come to the community board. They have their own boards.
Right.
You know, the school board has their own boards. So, and we're not hearing, now, Tommy, you are on the hospital board, right? With Antonia, but we don't hear enough information to know exactly what to push for. So I think it's important for the future to say that we need a better reporting relationship between the community board, the police department, the health department, and the schools. Because we hear rumors. I mean, you're on a community board and you have to hear rumors to even know that a daycare center might be being closed. Does that make sense to you all, that we push for better reporting about what's going on among the different city agencies that are in our district?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
there should be is there an education committee on the school, on the community board? There probably should be.
Well, is there one now, Marie?
Dana Racklin heads that up.
Okay, what generally has
Yeah.
happened is it's been a weak committee because the school has its own board.
Right.
So let's talk to Dana. Can I suggest that the next time we meet, that we bring the person working on the environment, which is Trish, what's her name? Trina. So Trina, Dana, and Tommy, you come with your hat of the hospital, the health thing, but who also attends the 9-0 and the 9-4, so we can hear what's happening to women with the COVID virus and violence? Because we don't hear that. And they say they send somebody to every community board meeting. I saw that. But how would we know that? We don't know it.
You can reach out to
Yeah.
Tom Burrows. He has a public safety committee meeting, and he just had one. He'll be doing a report at the next board meeting.
Yeah, Lisa, are you on this public safety committee?
I am.
Okay, can I suggest, it would just be helpful, because Tom and we've talked a bit, since he's the only person that disagreed with our women's swim issue, right? We haven't talked a little bit. I mean, I don't care that he has a different position, but it got a little feisty there. Is that it would be helpful if we get from Tom more of a focus on violence against women and what's happening. What do we hear from the police department? He said he would do a joint meeting before. I mean, I think he would be willing to, but it would be good at least once a year that the Women's Committee meets with Dana and Trina and Tom then to talk, or we bring in the 9-0 and the 9-4, however we want to design it. But we have to kind of know more information, or we can't be very precise with what we're requesting.
Marie,
Okay.
didn't we one time talk about that, and
Yes.
and they said that there are a lot of women out there who don't report because they're afraid to report.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, but everybody is trying to tell us that because of the COVID virus, that there's a lot more violence. Now, where are they getting that information from? And I know there is, we can bring in, we can ask the North Brooklyn, what is the group that Sue is telling us that we need to invite? North Brooklyn group against violence against women? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
Jane, right?
Well, I think that Emily and Deborah Spiroff
Right.
co-founded a group like that.
So they have this one has staff and everything, whatever I have,
Oh,
it's a
okay, that's different.
whole bunch of stuff, and he gave us the
That must be
name.
through Woodhall, because he also works part-time at Woodhall, I believe.
Okay, so in December, early December, if we could have one kind of review meeting of what really is happening, and then if you're there, Lisa, with Tom, we
Yes.
could kind of get that together, but also with Dana. Do you know Dana, Lisa?
Yes, I do.
And see if we can, because I think we need to support her being able to take on this role, because I don't think it works very well given the way things are structured. I don't think it's her fault at all.
Right.
It's just it's never worked except when Mildred Tootie was there 25 years ago. And she never had hardly anybody coming, remember that, Tommy, to her meetings. So if we can move on that. So otherwise, right now on our budget stuff, we're not doing so well, right? We know that right now in Williamsburg, Greenpoint, the public housing is going through this RAD thing. We don't know, again, that's a very upsetting thing for a whole lot of people, but we don't have any clear push from public housing leaders about what they want to do about it. So I'll just put it there on the budget. Okay, so childcare, we got schools need more flexibility. Lisa's bringing up where you don't just decide once and you can never change your mind. Anything else that people would like? What about seniors, Bozina? Senior centers. They're not even open at Swinging 60s.
Yes,
What do you
well,
want to
that's,
say?
yeah, with that, I think the signals from DEFTA are as such that we won't come back to any activities until the end of the year. The centers remain closed. DEFTA is looking, actually researching if any of the centers could start doing pick up and go meals for the seniors. So they did this like a lengthy survey among the providers, and they were supposed to start this in November, like to see how that is going to work out. But so far, nothing is happening. There's a lot of depression among the seniors. I have to tell you that we try to maintain, our services. We set up the appointments with individual seniors if they need it, but unfortunately, we cannot do that for all of them, and many of them don't. They are not that savvy to have virtual activities, even though we have exercises on Zoom and things like that. So it's a tough situation. It really is tough situation. We try to get our employees. They all have the cell phones, like a working cell phones, each of them, and we try to maintain contact with as many seniors as possible. But it's a difficult situation. I
Well,
think
what do you want?
loneliness and depression and lack of physical contact is the main issue.
Marie Lianza, do you want to add on there? Let Marie, because she does this every day.
Yeah, say it again. I'm sorry because I got it muted on me. What are you saying about that?
I said, what is your view? Rosina's laying out that, and I don't know what the senior citizen centers want to do. They're still closed. They don't know when they'll be open. And people are quite depressed. Many seniors are depressed. And yet they don't want to do things on Zoom and online. What are your recommendations of what you want to see? Or is it true from here?
They are depressed because, like Jennings Hall and Metro and Monsignor, they can't do nothing. They can't play bingo. That's their livelihood is to go play bingo, go down to the pool room, and nothing is allowed in any in the places, which is really crazy because they're going nuts upstairs. They do go out, they go shopping and everything. They don't have the centers. All I know is that as the center, some of the churches are open that have the seniors. Maybe Cooper Park is open. I don't know if their center is open.
Oh.
But I know they have
Okay,
to. I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Well, I think the issue will be is that I want to just say the issue is that all kinds of things are going to keep happening because of COVID. If we don't have positions, so if the senior centers, Bozina and Marie, and I know John Pell with Swinging 60s is closed. They can't even have, why people can't have 10 people a day that come in and have lunch and do activities, at least for an hour or two, and shift to another hour or two, I don't know. Because the gyms are opened up that are private, but not the public. So you have to be very careful that there's a lot of tricky things being planned that people will say, well, we lived without that center. We don't need that anymore. Well, you lived without that pool. We open up pools, but not Metropolitan Pool. which is what Bella wanted to talk about if she was here and she couldn't get on. I'm just saying is that, so what are you, the people that are working with seniors, talking to each other and coming up with a plan that you want to push? Or are you thinking this is all we can do? I mean, if Trump gets elected, he does not care if seniors die. That's very clear.
Jan, I think Tommy wants to make a comment.
Okay, thank you, Tommy. Go on.
I think we're talking about the budget, right, Jan?
Well, we're talking about the budget, but we're also talking about what are we pushing in line of the COVID, where money is going to change. So
One recommendation, I know we're talking child care, is the technology and the city investing more money to make sure that every child at home has the technology to go on, and every senior has the technology, the Wi-Fi infrastructure in housing developments and throughout the city, to make sure that's ready for what's coming up. And this type of COVID, there'll be other things similar to COVID in the future where we need to be prepared and have the infrastructure ready for that. So investing in that, a big amount of money on that.
Thank you, Thomas.
Who's going to teach these seniors how to do the computer if nobody can go in their apartment? Or what's the sense?
That could be part of the budget, to have a small group with our seniors, whether it's at the senior center or bring them into the school.
I mean, daycare is open, but the senior center is not open in the very same building. So you can imagine, all you have to do is imagine if you're a political person, you're the mayor, and you have to make 1 million cuts. You're going to make cuts where people aren't seeing anything. So senior centers, Bozina, you have a lot of money in that center over there. You were feeding, 250 people a day or more? I mean, huge. So what is it that you want to see happen? And you don't have to know now, but you have to really come up with it. And you have other groups that will support you. We would hate to lose the infrastructure we do have already.
Jan, can I say something?
Sure, go on.
Well, I'm a senior citizen.
No, I didn't know that.
Well, a lot of people may not realize.
You're a youthful-looking senior.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I want to say occasionally I get a call from the Swinging 60 Senior Center and they pick on me, and I appreciate that. But I know that John Pell is an extraordinary person, and he worked something out with the city so that we don't often get lunches every day, and it's really very helpful. I mean, it's wonderful when that someone from the center, it's trying to help seniors. I mean, I don't know if other people are getting that accommodation, but we get lunch every day, 5 days a week. And it's helpful to know that somebody cares. And I know John Pell connected with the city of New York, and that's who's presenting the food.
Thank you.
And it's helpful. But I don't know. I don't get that many calls, but I do get calls occasionally.
Oh, so can we say that here is another issue, unless I'm wrong, is that it's very uneven who's getting food right now. We are giving out those awards that you've all seen for the last 2 months. Joey Lenthal is going to give certificates for the names we had on the list that you've seen several times. So if it's not there, you didn't put it there.
Is it too late?
No, it's not too late. But
I ran into some more people
send it over in an email. But the point is,
they're actually putting names
right.
together.
The point is that this food business, I've talked Cooper Park. She has done an amazing job, the president there, at getting food and distributing it. But I don't know. But then I will talk to Amanda and she says, well, I don't get it. So the point is, with all the CDCs that we have, the big CDCs like St. Nick's, Lasuris, People's Firehouse, and North Brooklyn. Why do we not have a coordinated food distribution program? And I wanted to say that I think we have to start looking at our own infrastructure and say, I mean, I don't think they're coordinated. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think they're pretty well coordinated. I think that like the North Brooklyn Angels, and I think they all kind of work together.
Well, that would, let's just say, it would be nice to hear what it is. What is the coordination plan? Because I don't know if every public housing site gets food like Cooper does, but I don't know. And I know we are giving an award, I think, to Williamsburg or Bushwick or some other place, but I don't know if all the public housing sites are giving out food. So we can ask Antonio Reynoso's office that, but we have very sketchy information is all I'm saying. So we are giving out these awards at the next meeting, and you'll give me your thing by tomorrow then, Jane.
Yeah, I'm bugging my friend to get the list to me now. And another thing I'd like to mention, if one of the names I'm going to give is a friend of mine who has been making shields. And she wrote to me and said, if you know any seniors who would like, or senior citizens who would like free shields, are great, they're reusable. They're the big plastic things that kind of cover your whole face. But and you can see. So if you know anyone who would be interested.
So Bozina, if you want, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be definitely interested. Yes, absolutely.
And Marie, maybe.
Anyone who's interested.
They're giving out free shields for seniors, and the big ones with plastic, that you put over, that you can see the face, but it's plastic. So they're a permanent one.
Yeah, well, our seniors, if they need, we always supply them with masks in our 3 buildings.
That's what I said.
Huh?
So that's what I said. We want to find out actually how coordinated all this work is among the seniors.
All my seniors in all 3 buildings, we have someone, if they want food, when we call them up, we just put their name on the list. But the big thing is now that I went back to Metro houses for 3 days a week, I'm noticing that, sometimes I don't understand these seniors. It's free, and if they don't like it, they discard it. And that's a shame, because there's a lot of people that could use food. So, it's really, I don't like this food. I like the dry food. I don't want that food. I like the hot food. I mean, you can't satisfy everybody, but the thing is I'm finding a lot of it is being discarded. So, I mean, let's go be realistic. I mean, it's a shame.
By the way, Biden just won Michigan.
No.
Yep. Biden has got 253 out of 270 right now.
Who's got 270?
No, 270 is what you need to win to be president. He's got 253.
Oh my.
And he just got Michigan, and he's going to get Arizona. Anyway. Don't tell us. If anybody voted for Trump, don't tell us now. Anyway, the point is that let's just say that it's not clear what reporting and coordination is going on. We complain about Trump not coordinating, but I would say that it's not clear in our own community what coordination we have going on. And I think we want to start being more honest about what we evaluate among our own selves too. Anyway, so.
But that's not what people's all about. They don't say that, but it's true.
No, I know they don't, but I do. And I think we are trying, women generally do. So we are open. And I think we've gone on long enough, is that we are still at this place of needing to get more information. We have left off our environmental push, but we still aren't forgetting it, that we were trying to bring all these groups, the bad air that is causing so much illness in our community, and all the work that Jane and many other people have been working on. We've left it in light of the COVID. But, you know, we have to get back to my home state voted for Biden, Wisconsin.
I
So
Dan,
anyway, so is there any other issues that people would like to bring up at this moment, as raggedy as this might be? I think the monumental women thing is will be a very interesting initiative. And we know that we're working on parks still with Jane. Jane is putting together a plan that she will bring to a meeting. And we have a lot more women in office. So we have some women, I think, that we do have to meet with. I think we have to have at least annually, I would propose, and see if you all agree, that we bring in the women leaders, political leaders, and or their representatives, as we did before, and look at what is the plan. You know, not just know what each one is doing by themselves, but what's each one doing, and what actually is the overall plan. Because all this fragmentation doesn't help anybody. And community boards were supposed to end fragmentation. That's why we exist. Anybody have any other recommendations of what they would like to end with? And do we actually have, what?
Before, can I just say that I've gotten a lot of support from Assemblyman Lentil's office.
Yes.
Now, I don't know about the other elected officials. Have they been involved trying to help the seniors or anyone in the community with the food issue? I know there's a very good group in the north side, and they go to Cooper Park houses, they supply food, they have a special truck.
Yeah,
And,
that's
North Brooklyn Angels.
North Brooklyn Angels, that's on our list, right?
Brooklyn Angels, but at the church there, Our Lady of Mount Carmel, they prepare the food, they help supply the services. Are there other groups that are helping seniors that we're not aware of? Because I don't think a lot of people are aware that
I think, yes,
certain
North
people
Brooklyn
are getting food to
Mutual.
begin with.
Jane is answering you, Tish.
There
Jane,
is a truck available from our local community that helps people and bring food
Yeah.
to Cooper Park houses and the area in general.
So
I
can
just
we
want to recognize
yeah,
people
but
for helping.
can we ask, who's closely tied to Marie, you're tied to the St. Nick's newspaper. Who else is connected to the news? Who has a newsletter? There's Greenpoint has the,
Yeah, Green Pointers is
can
great.
we ask them to do updates on what is available for people in their newsletter, and see if they can talk to each other? And we could,
That
and
would
we,
be very good. I would love to be included in that, because we have a lot of information for Polish people and the people with the, for the services that we provide online, and they are available to everybody.
yes, we want you to be included in that, and we want to get a little bit more, I said, a coordination, so people are aware of what's going on, because people are running so much not to be out, right? They're being home. It's hard to keep up with what's happening. But anybody,
Actually, one thing that I just remembered, that the North Brooklyn Angels is doing a big Thanksgiving dinner in the Expo Center, the Brooklyn Expo Center, which is an enormous space. So they're going to do 10 tables at a time. 10 tables. So, and there will be different seating throughout.
did
the
everybody
day.
hear Jane?
A free Thanksgiving meal, and something, kind of social and they have special air filters. Does everyone know the Brooklyn Expo Center? It's on Franklin Street in Greenpoint and Noble. It's a really big space, very high ceilings, and they put a special filtration system in that is particularly good for filtering out COVID even.
So Bazina, did you know about that?
Yes, I did.
Okay, good. All right, so some things are floating around. Thank you.
So that's a Thanksgiving event.
So we're requesting the local newspapers to do an update. We're asking the CDCs to see if they could do a little bit more coordination in that update about what's really happening. And you said the politicians, we don't know what they're necessarily doing or not doing because they've all been caught up with this
Yeah.
election.
They-
So
they
now
should
that the
be updated.
election is maybe over, Michigan, Biden won. Yeah. This, we're all going to have, whether you're, it doesn't even matter which side you're on. Shows how divided we are. Okay,
We finished. I gotta start cooking, guys.
okay. Anybody want to at least wish people, give good, each one say something you'd like to say nice about upcoming, that you're looking forward to with the Thanksgiving? Let's end on a positive note.
More rally in the market. But the next thing that the markets are focused on is fiscal stimulus, and what's nice is I'm hoping that.
Yeah. I can't hear what you're saying.
I
Can we
wish
hear-
everybody a healthy and a happy Thanksgiving.
Okay, anybody else has something that you're looking forward to with this Thanksgiving, that, or that you're thankful for in light of the COVID and everything else?
Jan, I'm looking forward to going to Pennsylvania with my daughter, my son-in-law, and my granddaughter Teresa, and I'll be there for Thanksgiving. So I'm very
Okay,
thankful that I have a good family taking care of us.
and I know your daughter is there and she could say something.
My daughter's here.
She's a member of our committee. Come on, Dina.
Hi,
Really,
Dina.
several times, hello, there's several times I want to interject, but I don't say anything.
No,
And
you
I just-
can.
Senior outreach, because I have senior citizen parents who getting phone calls and support is so key. I must speak to my mom 3 times a day just to support her, but she has had people call and we're really grateful checking in on her, including Jerry Esposito
Yeah.
calling my parents. How are they? Are they okay? So I really
Mike,
truly appreciate Mike
Rochford.
Rochford, people reaching out to see if my parents are okay, because honestly, they
Right.
need support. So
Thank you.
you know,
It's a phone
Thank
call.
you.
even if it's a phone call, not you, Jan, you get in trouble all the time.
She yells at me for 20 minutes every time I call, so I'm scared now. I call Dina.
That's because she knows you the longest,
Right.
right?
Yes. Anyway, anybody else? Jane, good wishes.
Yeah, actually, I just want to say that when that woman Brenda was on the meeting and everyone was talking about our community, and I was just hearing all of you wonderful people and the things that you were saying, I just felt like swelled up with pride to be on this committee with all of you, and I just feel grateful.
Thank
Grateful
you.
for all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else want to say something? Lisa?
Yes, I am thankful and grateful for my friends and my family and everyone who is healthy. And, you know, I just want everyone to be blessed and hope we get through this pandemic.
Yes.
And that's it. I want life to go back to normal.
Amen.
If you're organized, you can go back to normal. If we're not organized, it's not. Tommy, you want to say something, or did you?
This is the best part of the season for me and the year is connecting with our NYCHA leaders for turkeys and for tours and things like that. I'm blessed to partner with so many that do that. Forward to that.
Thank you. I'm going to be out here in Pennsylvania. If I don't know if I want to stay in Pennsylvania after this, but Pennsylvania, my son and granddaughter, who I hear her little joyful laugh every day coming over the fence. That keeps me going. So, and I'm glad that none of you have gotten the virus. In my whole family, we had one family grouping that got the virus, but they're okay. You know, and I think the only person I know on our committee that had it, but I mean, I may not know, was Bella. She and her husband had it, but they're okay too. So we're lucky. We've had What?
Did Tommy have it?
Did you have the virus, Tommy?
Fine.
I got through it back in March.
Okay, so you and you're okay now, totally?
Sick.
Oh,
I
gee.
think
Okay.
I had it in March too.
So she thinks she had it in March too.
Yeah.
Oh, everybody thought I would get it. That's why they sent me away. Okay, so thank you very much. And we have our community board meeting next Tuesday.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye. And I hope.
Thank you, everyone.
But are
Thank
you
you,
all agreeing?
thank you, everyone.
You're all agreeing that we should fight for Zoom and get off this WebEx,
Yes.
right?
Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely.
We have a unanimous vote from a quorum, and we have a quorum. Thank you for
Yes.
giving me a quorum. Bye, dear.
Bye.
Thanksgiving.
Okay, bye. Anybody wants to give more awards, send them in by tomorrow. Bye.
So long, Jen.
I think that guy said he was sick.
Yeah.
Tommy, you know Tommy. Oh, nice to see you both.